We're Arts Adventure Summits, the airwaves. This is the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show with Oberndorfer and Long. I'm R. Brandon Long, along with
Todd Oberndorfer.
And we are your hosts for the greatest arts and adventure podcast in all the land. And so we will start with the most important question of the day, and that is, where do you look on a Zoom call?
Directly at myself.
Directly at yourself.
Yeah, for most of the time. Make sure I look professional.
Yeah, at this point, you know where you're supposed to, but you're still looking.
Yeah.
So if you have two screens.
Now, I did just, how many years into this? 4 years. I did just buy a new, like a separate webcam, because I have just been using. So I have the setup at work and at home, because I work from home a few days a week, right? And so I got the big monitors and, the laptop and the iPad. And so screen. And so the only camera that I've always had has always been the laptop over here.
Right.
But all meeting, I'm looking at what I have opened up on these screens, right? And so I always have to look down here. And then I'm also, the camera is always in a weird place. And so I got a decent Logitech one, right? So I've done a little bit of looking into them. And you were talking the different levels of equipment. So there's the base and then the medium, and I'm sort of the medium to high level.
High level. Okay.
And so you'll notice the next time we ever do any sort of Zoom podcast, that'll be like,
well, I missed you this morning.
You'll see a huge switch. Yeah, I don't even know about that. It's so funny how my old work email address, when I worked at Weber State, I always threw Ogden-related arts organizations like the Ogden
like the
Arts
thing we've been doing
Advisory
for like 4
Committee,
years now. But
Anyway, I would always just have that email address that was connected with that calendar.
Yeah.
But that is not connected to my new Salt Lake Arts Council calendar, so I have to physically switch things over. And so anyway, I missed one. And there was a reminder email, and I was just like, fuck, I never missed those meetings. I felt horrible. I never missed those meetings.
No, I know. It was unusual, so I thought you died. I mean, because, if you're not there, you're probably dead.
You can count on me for those meetings.
I know.
Yeah. Good stuff?
Great stuff. Those listening right now, it is time for the submissions. Well, the deadline is Friday for the Ogden City Arts Grants. And so if you are in Ogden City, or your business or your performance or whatever you want to do is within the Ogden City limits as an artist, consider Ogden City Arts Grants. Go just search Ogden City Arts Grants. Now, I did suggest that because I was looking for it on my phone, and it's not. Let me make sure this is pulled up right.
Are you talking shit on the Ogden City website?
Yeah. Wait,
is this where this is leading to?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me just make sure. It really was. But
I want to say it's gotten a tiny bit better, but it's still hard to find anything.
It is, definitely.
Yeah, no, we're good. Okay. Just want to make sure that was right. So the grants are not on the landing page on Ogden City Arts. So the hamburger menu that opens up, it's the top one. But if you're on your phone, you're just scrolling down the home page, you don't see anything about Ogden City Arts. And so I suggested to Lori with the city to add that, because it's easier to get the information. A lot of us use our phones. And so if a laptop, it's fine, computer, it's fine, but on your phone, it's buried in the hamburger menu. And so you don't know. And so,
you know what? That's another thing you have to think about, because I think I probably, anytime I ever go to those, I'll go to the Facebook reminder or the Insta reminder, and I'll click the link from there. It'll take you directly to it. And so sometimes I never just go straight to that website, and I wouldn't even known something like that. But if somebody's using the website and that's their only means of finding information, and you can't find the thing, sometimes that's all it takes to have the courage to apply one year.
I know.
And as somebody who's on that subcommittee, I want to see some new people apply every single year.
Right. And now's the time. So now's the time.
You got 1 day heads up.
Right, because it's going to come out tomorrow probably, and so you got till Friday.
At 4 p.m.
At 4 p.m., so get on it.
Yeah, we'll get on it.
Okay, Patrick, have you ever had an Ogden City Arts Grant?
No, I've never had an Ogden City Arts Grant, but I will be applying this year.
Okay.
Have you already done yours?
It's in process.
So you haven't started yet?
I have not started.
Yeah.
No, I attended the information session, and I have been
That's
applying.
starting.
I've been applying for grants elsewhere, so I have kind of copy and paste of, what Happy Magpie is and kind of what we're doing in the community. And the thing about the type of grant that I'll be applying for is that it's project-based because I'm not a nonprofit.
Of course.
So it's just making sure that we have a solid plan for a project that falls within the time frame to use the grant.
Well, I think we can decide that. What's your plan?
Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
It's kind of
any
TBD.
questions?
Like, I want to do a writing retreat for Ogden writers. So have it based at like either Alaska Inn or somewhere, like feel like a proper writing retreat
I'm
for
thinking
Ogden
like
writers.
old school writers. Writing retreat would just be a lot of hard drinking, like a lot of
Yeah. So all of the money is basically allocated for vodka, whiskey.
and maybe some prostitutes. I mean, if you go back far enough. Yeah. That's so funny. Old school.
Very old school. Yeah, no, I think it would just be like a writing retreat or something like that. But yeah, that's kind of top
What
of
a
my
fun
list.
idea. I think
Yeah, I think so. We'll probably get into this later, but like my goal is to make Ogden.
We're in it now.
Okay, great. Yeah, so my goal is to make Ogden the literary arts capital of Utah and the greater Rocky Mountain West region. Like, I want
Who's our
people,
competition? Who's in?
I would say like Boulder, Denver, Salt Lake City.
No, but in Utah.
Salt Lake City
Okay.
is probably the primary competition.
Okay.
Provo has like a lot of good writers down there, but in terms of things happening, Ogden has the most going on right now. I don't think that the rest of the state knows that we have so much going on right now, but we've got a lot. That was some ASMR can opening for you. Yeah, so I want people to think about Ogden first when they think about being a writer in Utah, and think about Ogden as a place where writers can go to get paid to write and do a sort of retreat where you don't have to be flush with cash in order to go and attend, that you can go have a career here as a writer, and that the city is going to allocate money for you because we see the value in having writers creating work in the city.
Okay,
Yeah.
This is on the surface fantastic. Let's dive in just a touch. In order to live here, because I'm in creative writing major, and I'm like, okay, unless I'm publishing books or working for a newspaper or print magazine, I can't get paid. How am I going to make a living as a writer in Ogden? So what's the big vision? Like, because do we need those things in place and able to make that happen?
No, I think it's just like paying writers when they're writing, like giving them an opportunity to come and attend something where you're learning about writing, or you're submitting to something to write, or that you're submitting a piece of your writing to a publication or something like that. Like the LQ is a great example. They pay $100 per
zine.
Yeah, the LQ zine here in Ogden is a great example of writers getting paid for their work. That's usually not normal. Like most.
That Salty Mag, we paid all our contributors. It's a nice little project.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's a similar idea.
Yeah, exactly. So Ogden's a place where creatives are actually getting paid to publish their art and to be doing their art here in Ogden. And that's not the case in most places. When you're submitting to a literary journal or a lit mag, a lot of the times you're actually paying a submission fee in order to be considered. And that goes to, the general operations of the journal or the magazine or whatever it is. But here in Ogden, we already have a couple things in place where we're paying writers for their poems, for their fiction pieces, their nonfiction, or photographers for their pieces of like photography. And so I just want to see more.
Podcasters for
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and I think any chance that we can get to put more money into the pockets of these creatives who are wanting to show up and wanting to devote their time to writing, I'm interested in that.
should I let her on?
Tradition continues. I'm sure she would hate that.
No, okay, I gotta end it. That's my wife. So
That has been 14
has been
years.
calling during podcasting for 14 years.
It's true.
the
Well, it's
love-
good to know, though, that the word is out that, yes, we can read in Ogden. Yes, we can read
geez.
in
We
Ogden.
can, in
right?
fact, read. I am
The
proof.
reputation outside of Ogden has been, let's just say, somewhat sketchier than the reality. And not only can we read, we can write, and we can write really well. Let's get to know you just a little bit. Do you write, or do you just love to read?
Yes, I'm a writer. I write mostly poetry. I'm based here in Ogden. I am actively writing every single day. And that's kind of really what led me to opening a bookstore. after COVID, a lot of the programming around writing and getting together with communities of writers kind of just hit pause, and nobody really picked it up. So the writing is really what led me to the bookstore. I wanted to have a place where we could have sort of a writing workshop here in Ogden, and what better place than a bookstore? And yeah, so I'm actively writing every day, and probably reading less than I'm writing right now, just because I'm surrounded by books, but most of the time filing them into the bookshelves or sending out marketing assets or making stupid reels on Instagram for the business. But yeah, I'm writing.
This is also good because, one, I really want to talk about stupid reels on Instagram for the business, because that's a blast, right?
Right.
Marketing.
Essential.
But I left the camera on Todd because I got a text from Shane Osgathorpe, who rarely uses his phone for text messaging. So he might come on the show. So I just wanted to mention that he said, who are your guests on Ogden Arts Adventure this evening? I punched out early to get the dog to the vet for a shot in the hopes of avoiding the massive storm of the century, and might stop by out
over the next several days.
Yeah, the forecast snow squalls so bad I can barely see Nevada from here. Okay, so Shane Osgathorpe may stop by.
I'll have to thank him for
thinking about us.
taking my position the other day.
Yeah, he did a great job with that.
Say he did it. He did a pretty good job.
Well, I mean,
I don't want you to hype so much that
listen,
you're like we didn't even miss you. Like we didn't even notice
almost
you were gone.
almost perfect. So it was
help
really
at all.
close to. Yeah, that's interesting, Patrick. That you have to do the reels. I mean, is this just a part of our life now? Like what?
Yeah. Unfortunately, like it is part of
What
owning a
what are you
business
guys
now.
talking about?
Like Instagram Reels, the
Yeah.
version of TikTok that's on Instagram. I also don't have a TikTok right now for the business because, like, oh my God, it's just another
One
thing.
more thing. Yeah.
It's one more thing. Yeah. So I've been making reels for the business just to promote like the grand opening. I had a very stupid one that I posted, and it got a lot of traction. And we live in an economy of virality, and like those things actually matter, and the reach reaches farther when you're participating in the audio trends, the visual trends, and it's just a part of business. So one day, hopefully.
So I have a hard time with that because I don't market what we do at Bandy Collective in that way. In other words, we put out so much of original content that we have the content. And so I'm just putting the content out. And so if I was going to also jump on, which I should do. I mean, let's be honest. I should do like behind the scenes and put it to trending audio. You know what I mean? And just video me setting up van sessions or setting up this podcast. But I don't, because I have so much I got to edit anyway.
Yeah, you have the actual job to do.
Actual job to do. Yeah, which is wild. Anyway, I could learn. Do you teach lessons on like Wednesdays at the bookshop?
Yeah, we could make that workshop happen, actually. No, it's something that I'm getting used to too. Like I'm used to just being a user of Instagram or whatever, but now I'm like, I have a business that also relies on, word of mouth a lot. And a lot of the traction that we get is mostly from the Instagram audience. So it is unfortunately where much of the communication is happening these days. I think it's like, if you make content, it's a nice place to just go and promote the content. For me, it's like I'm mostly promoting the events that we have going on, and just trying to like let people know that there's a bookstore in Ogden again.
Did we mention the name Happy Magpie Book and
Maybe
Quill?
this is a good chance for me to introduce myself.
No, we do the intros at the end. You have to listen to the whole show to find out.
Yeah.
It's like a little hook that we do. Yeah.
It's like
Happy
a podcast.
Magpie Book and Quill, which I love. Book and Quill. Quill's so the full name.
Yeah.
Where'd you come up with that?
So Happy Magpie Book and Quill is the full name, Happy Magpie for short. Book and Quill is kind of just a nod to the key pillars of the business, one being books and two being the actual writing that happens at the bookstore. So I didn't actually want to open up a bookstore when this started. I wanted to open a writing workshop, and it just kind of made sense to do them together. Like they came pretty quickly. They're kind of like twin ideas, but I was most passionate about the writing part of it. And it just made sense that if we had a physical space for writers writing together, to fill it with books, because I guess that's the end point of the journey.
Sure.
Is ideally the words you're writing together in a workshop some of them find their way to paper and become books. But yeah, so Happy Magpie, it's kind of the antithesis of Seagull Book. like magpies are notoriously like kind of shithead birds. And
well, ask Todd about the seagulls, and we'll. I mean,
do we have thoughts about
we've got
seagulls?
stories. Well, I mean, we've told the story multiple times, but yeah,
They're not my favorite.
Not a fan of the seagulls.
I like the magpies probably more. I think that that's really kind of funny. Now that you sort of
because magpies are assholes.
They are. Oh, they also have such a
seagulls are
reputation in
kinda
Ogden
assholes
too.
But there's something different about magpies. There's a whole level of annoyance.
Yeah, they got brains. They're
and they're
smart.
super smart.
Yeah, and
They're definitely more organized.
for sure.
They're less just trash eaters too. I think they're just smarter in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they come with a whole slew of really interesting words associated with them. Like a group of magpies is called a mischief. And so there was this whole like bucket of language that came with these birds that I was like, I just like the whole vibe that we've associated with them.
It's a good vibe.
And I think that aligns with kind of how I exist in Ogden is like I'm a queer person in Utah, and I've always been on sort of not the inner skirts, definitely the outer skirts of like Utah's mainstream culture. Granted, Ogden is a place where the culture is drastically different from the rest of Utah, I think. But it felt like a magpie just fit the vibe of Ogden's readers and writers more so than a seagull does.
Well, and I don't know if I've ever seen a happy magpie.
Yeah, that's actually a synonym for gay. So it's actually the gay magpie book in Quill.
We just didn't come right out and say the game because I don't know, man. That's a pretty good name, but
that's just like a little joke about it.
Yeah.
But it's Happy Magpie. I feel like that sounds pretty good together.
Yep.
And
it flows.
there's other books or other bookstores in the world that are Magpie bookstore or whatever. So I wanted to have a modifier just to make sure I wasn't like.
What's with the magpies? Are they like turtles? Like, what are we doing?
It's just an interesting bird.
Yeah,
like
okay.
it's a corvid. It's intelligent. There's like people say they collect shiny objects. So there's lore associated with them.
I read something just recently that this young girl, you guys probably read the same thing. I can't remember where it was. This young girl fed a magpie every day, like off the back deck or something. And the magpie would bring her, and she had it laid out in her room. All of these,
like
let's just say more valuable objects. They're mostly metal, you know what I mean? Like coins and jewelry and like...
That's amazing.
I think it was a relationship that was built between this little girl and this magpie. It was just an exchange where you do this for me and I do this for you. And I think there's more to magpies than just, seeing dozens of them at a time.
Right. Yeah. It's all the magpie, crow, raven family is all very intelligent. They know some shit.
They've seen some shit too.
Yeah. Definitely.
That too. So you started things off here at the Monarch, and then we immediately have you come back to the Monarch right after you got out. How long were you over here?
I was over here for a year and 4 months, which was a great place to start. It was a great trial. Of
almost like a proof of concept.
Yeah, it was absolutely proof of concept. I had a hypothesis about Ogden and my whole pay what you want model. And I was like, I think this will work in Ogden based on the generosity of readers and writers and like the people who want this to exist. And the overhead at the Monarch was low enough that even if shit totally hit the fan, it could still, like, I could still be fine. And then it just worked better than I expected. And I outgrew it probably within like 6 months is when I probably should have been looking for a new space. But the Monarch was very accommodating to like having my events out in the more common areas. So I was able to grow the events outside of the space in the building.
Because the bookstore is not just a bookstore. There's events. And so
Yes.
those unfamiliar with the Monarch, these are little studios, and there's like an alleyway, hallway, whatever, between the studios. Common area, I guess. And so We have a double wide because that's how Todd and I roll. So, but most of them are not double wides in there. I don't know what size they are. Decent size.
300 square feet, basically.
See, decent size for a cot, I guess.
Yeah.
And a few books.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's easy to outgrow something like that quickly, and especially if you're trying to do events and invite people to your space.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was definitely doing a lot more event programming than I think I expected to do from the get-go. But that was kind of my early vision of Happy Magpie, was really just like opening it, letting people come in, letting readers and writers come through and be like, what do you really want this to be?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you haven't had a bookish space for the community for, 4 years, since 2019. So if you guys want more open mics, we'll have more open mics. If you want a group of writers getting together to write every week, we'll do that. If you want a book club, we'll do that. If you don't want a book club, we won't do it.
Well, yeah. What was the feedback like?
Overwhelmingly supportive, especially once we started doing writing programming on a weekly basis. Those are my like champions. Those people come out for my reading events, my writing events, my moving event that I had. Like, they're down to show up for everything. So Ogden has been overwhelmingly enthusiastic and generous about having a bookstore or like a writing workshop in their community. I think so many people were just so thirsty for something like this, because we are all used to stuff happening in the city, like as writers, but and readers, but it's just been on pause. So what I'm doing is like, most of it is not new to this community. It's just kind of picking up all the awesome work that others had done in the past, but was just really hit on pause because of COVID.
I appreciate you saying that. I think that's because we knew Marcy in her place, right? And you bring her up in conversation. I know you had a relationship with her and her store, and what you're saying is spot on. Like it feels like sort of a continuation. And before her, it was somebody else. And
it was the bookshelf before her.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be somebody else after me. Like, I think that I'm just one in a long line of booksellers in Ogden, and just.
Well, I just want you to be like the last, like you just like you're 105 or 130. These, you're just out there hawking books still, like
have my robot take care of me and
yeah. Oh my God, that'd be fantastic. Like, man,
Patrick,
happy Magpie Book and Quills celebrating their 99th anniversary or something.
Yeah. Wow. Imagining that. I guess I don't really think past 6 months.
Like tomorrow?
Yeah. I guess now my new lease has like 12 months. So
okay.
I only think about 12 months ahead.
Yeah. Where are you now?
I am at, on 27th in Washington.
27th.
27th in Washington, basically right next to Salt and Hops. It's 443 27th Street here in Ogden, right next to a wonderful craft beer store. So it's a one-stop shop for all your major food groups, beer and books. And yeah, it's a great time.
What do you open?
We're open every day except Monday. Mostly it's noon to 7.
Salon hours.
Yeah. Yeah, except for right now we're not open because I just stepped out. So every day except Mondays. And yeah.
It's like the coolest like neighborhood books. Like, he works there, and then when he's got to go do a podcast, he has to put like a close sign.
A little sign at the door.
Yeah, no,
Jump to the Banyan Show, be back.
I thought about writing
Come
that actually.
say hi if you need me. You know where the Banyan's at. So.
Yeah, it would have been super cool to have a sign that said, "Sorry, can't right now. I'm podcasting."
Damn straight. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm podcasting, because the proper way just put out those shirts and it said something like "Sorry, can't gig now" or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit further. So I'm trying to think the first time your name came up that, you came into my sphere, and I'd say Brandon and I are rather involved in the Ogden community, and everybody knows you, Patrick. So where do they know you from pre?
He's so
books?
famous.
But pre-books. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where were you born? Give us that little kind of synopsis leading up to.
Yeah, so I grew up in Syracuse, Utah, and I went to Weaver
Hotbed
State.
at writing.
What was that?
Hotbed of writing. All the
Syracuse?
authors come out of Syracuse. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the hotbed of
You got to
writing.
dig.
For sure.
You're gonna find
Yeah.
them. You will find them.
Yeah, it's the trauma. That's what helps.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
Oh,
the religious trauma really
not good. Okay.
kicks off and open a career in writing.
A lot of songwriters in there too.
Yeah, teardrops on my guitar, man. Yeah, so I went to Weber State, and after a while realized that I was a writer and couldn't really shake it, and so went to the creative writing program at Weber State. Got involved with Metaphor, the literary journal up there, which is a fantastic opportunity for any undergraduate students who are interested in being involved in sort of an editorial board or like getting hands-on experience with figuring out, what goes into an actual literary journal, and like picking the right poems and fiction pieces. And it was the first time I'd really been invited to be a part of the literary arts shaping something and like the community of it. So I got pretty involved in that, ended up, I just started writing a lot too. Like while I was in school, I was posting some poems on Instagram and people were responding really well to them. And I love outside
Happy
validation.
stuff, sad stuff.
Mostly like lovey, dumb, queer stuff. Like very like cheesy poems, but you have to write the horrible poems to get to the good poems. So I
like my fair. I love cheese.
I was pretty schmoozy in my early poetry and stuff, but I don't regret it. It's essential.
I mean, I write very serious poetry now, but I started with, and you may know, I'm famous for my poo poetry. So I don't know if you, they're all poems written while on the shitter.
Yeah, everybody
Check
knows
this
that
off.
about you.
Yeah, I mean, I've only read them in public a few times because they're so pop. I'm done. I'm tired of
Too much demand.
Too much demand.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
The goal is to somehow get you out into the public in front of a microphone and revisit that poetry
I probably
at some
should.
point.
I probably
Yeah,
should.
my
'Cause they
open mics, you'll have to read it or else.
I mean, they're hot. You know what I'm saying?
Steamy.
Give your fans what they want.
Oh, God.
It is the greatest bathroom book known to man. It is R. Brandon Long's Poo Poetry. So
Is it a book? Is it printed? Is it?
No, never been a book. It's always been in my notes, like on my phones and stuff.
Okay.
I've got a collection of at least 4 poems. And so,
Okay.
That's how it starts.
Wonderful start.
wonderful start.
Really scratching the
We
surface.
just need to get some illustrations. And
I didn't think about illustrations.
maybe give me another dozen, and then we'll think about getting that published.
Okay, fair enough. Banyan Collective is now a publishing house, and so we can do that.
We're going in that
Yeah, we'll go
direction.
in that direction. So-
Perfect.
So what's the future for Happy Magpie? Like, it seems like a one-stop shop for writers, as far as workshops go, as far as unloading books you've read, picking up new books, talking about what I should be reading right now, taking workshops there. I mean, do you publish down the line? What's
I mean, you covered a lot of it. So it's a one-stop shop for readers and writers. We're here to, be a place where local readers can meet local writers, where local writers can launch their books, where like if you have a writing project that you want to work on, you can find people who can work on it with you. But the next step, like the next immediate steps is just adding more programming, being there every day, except Mondays, and just getting the word out to folks.
what happens on Mondays?
That's my day off.
All right, fair.
The future, I mean, I've definitely thought about having like a publishing press and like doing local publishing. I think that would be amazing. I think there's so much wrong with the current publishing landscape, and that was kind of the mindset that drove me to do this very unexpected approach to a bookstore like I have at Happy Magpie with our pay what you want model. There's a lot of broken parts, I think, in the current publishing industry. So I would be interested in getting in there and doing like some disruptive work in the publishing landscape, but I don't know. We'll see. For right now, I need to like just be doing the shit that I'm currently doing and doing it better.
Yeah. And you just moved.
And I just moved to a new shop. So yeah, just settling in, alphabetizing everything, sorting, and, making more opportunities for Ogden's readers and writers to get out and connect with each other. We just had our grand opening on Friday and it was like slammed nonstop. You can just tell that people in Ogden are really wanting more things like this.
What's a standout moment from your opening?
Oh, a standout moment from my
An interaction or
opening.
something you saw, something that just touched you. I mean,
Oh man.
your opening is going to happen once in that spot.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good question. Oh my God. Let's see.
Okay,
let
me help you. Let me give you a minute because
Okay.
I wasn't at the
Thank
opening,
you,
but you
thank
can
you.
think about this. But I will say, because you said everything was alphabetized, and I saw the funniest joke the other day that it's this famous comedian who's famous for one-liners. He's no longer with us. He had like the long hair, not Rodney Dangerfield, not that kind of comedian. The other guy who's really like heady, and he said there was like a record store.
Stephen Wright always had good.
Wasn't Stephen
one-liners.
Wright? Yeah, it was like something headroom or something. I don't know.
Okay.
The record store said that they had all the hardest to find albums. And so he went in there and nothing was alphabetized.
Well, that is, we have super rare books. Yeah, that's what it is. We have really rare books because it's impossible to find them.
The hardest to find books. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
There's just no system of organization.
No, yeah, nothing's organized.
God,
You
that's
just
really
good
funny.
luck.
I'm glad you shared that. That was very funny.
But I was so I stopped by Happy Magpie because I hadn't been in yet. So I stopped by on the way to the studio today, and I did notice. I didn't mention anything, Patrick, but you have a lot of Star Trek books.
Oh my God. I'm in the process of taking them off the shelf, actually. Okay, so story behind that. There is a gentleman that's come to the art stroll the past like 5 times here at the Monarch that happens once a month, who knows that I have these Star Trek books. And I told him that I had them, but they were like at the very back of my storage, like the very back of the back in like 3 boxes. And I was like, they're not out yet, man, but at my new location, I'll get them out just for you.
Yeah.
And I got him out and he hasn't been there yet, but like they take up literally 8 shelves.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking hundreds.
I had
Anyone
no idea
listening to
there was
this
that
out in
many
the
Star
world,
Trek books.
if you're listening and you need the largest Star Trek collection in Utah, I have it, and you can have it for as much as you want. It's a lot of Star Trek, and I can't imagine how there's that much Star Trek.
So the word is out that you specialize in Star Trek literature. That's
Yeah, super rare Star Trek books.
niche, very niche.
Have you read them?
No,
They paperbacks?
Most of them are paperbacks, and then some. There's like even the religions of Star Trek. Like we're getting into like the meta levels of the Star Trek verse, and
Because I can totally imagine Star Wars because it's such a catalog and such a and Star Trek's pretty big. You know, I don't.
Yeah.
But they're not. I wouldn't put them as high as Star Wars. Some probably would, but I wouldn't. So it just did surprise me that there were that many Star Trek.
Well, my favorite thing to do now, granted, my sister and I read sci-fi fantasy. She still does. She could probably start her own. I think she kept most of her books that she used to buy. I think at some point she switched over to the digital realm. But I used to love old fantasy from like the 60s, 70s. Like the book cover art, like the cover art of especially sci-fi fantasy is the coolest and
It
the
really is.
trippiest. And I would probably enjoy looking through some of those old
Yeah.
Star Trek ones just because sometimes the art itself is better than anything that's going to be written in there, particularly with some of those sci-fi books. But I'm going to have to come and just kind of look through the art.
Yeah.
I used to do that back in the old videotape days. All the VHS artwork was like my favorite thing to do. I love cover art. It's like one of my favorite
Is
things.
that what if you just got paid to make cover art, would you do that for a living?
I don't know. I would love to like collect it. And I know people have to some degree because I have 2 or 3 just books dedicated to like old VHS artwork, right? But I would love to kind of collect some of these things before they're just gone.
I saw somebody posted this to real, where, God, it was funny too. He did, I don't remember the movie, but it was a movie, like the poster for the movie, right?
Right.
And he said, AI, make me this poster of this movie. And it had like like the characters who are in the news right now, so like Epstein and Trump and all these people, right? And he would just say, put these in there, but it was like a war movie or something, and it would just, he's like, no, I don't like this, take this away, and it just kept switching, and the AI, so he posted what AI would produce, and he would post like the prompt, and they'll switch it to this, now put ladies in the background, now make the font do this, and it was like this with the AI, and it was so kitschy and funny that by the end, it looked like all of the old posters that used to be popular for the movie.
But then you still have to follow up. Siri, make sure all of the humans have 5 fingers on each hand.
Well, it's getting better too, though. So yeah,
You got to count the teeth.
got to count the teeth. That's funny. Are you worried? And like how, like, because you're young enough now and you're in the industry, but the AI and writing. What are your thoughts?
Is that question to me?
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's to Todd. Todd, take it
Todd,
away.
you're young enough.
No, it's you.
Yeah, I have no thoughts on AI quite yet. So
Yeah, I mean, I was just working for a startup before I went full time at the bookstore, and I was using AI every day for writing. I would use it for writing a description of an app for like the App Store, anything that was like a format that I'd never written into before, or maybe like a press release or something. I would use it as like a first draft. You should just think about it as the most productive intern that exists in the universe and treat it that way. I don't personally put any of my creative writing into it. That's just like a personal line that I've drawn. Like, I don't want my poetry to be generated from anything but like my heart and soul. If you want to schmooze for a sec.
No, I mean, but how personal can AI poetry get? I mean,
I think a lot of people are experimenting with it right now, trying to figure that out. Like, you can train it on your voice. Like, you can train, any company can and should be training their AI to talk in an on-brand way, so that when they generate press releases, marketing, content, whatever, it's already aligned with your tone. So people could do that too, really. But I think there's essential humanness of like poetry and creative writing that should remain just human. So I'm not worried about like how AI will intersect with the parts of my writing that I want to protect, because I don't think AI is ever going to write a poem the way that I would personally.
that's exactly what an AI robot would say.
Yeah. This is brought to you by ChatGPT.
You look
A moment
a
from our
little deeper in the
sponsor.
last 3 minutes, exclusively AI. So.
Yeah. And in conclusion, yeah.
well, there's now AI apps to let you know that this photo was AI generated or not. And so I'm assuming there's AI apps that let you know if this text was AI generated or not.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be foolproof, like you can always copy and paste it and change it and stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we'll see a lot of how it's really going to shake out in the next few years. Publishers and authors who are published are really unhappy about how AI was trained on published books and published authors without actual attribution to them and without, paying for their words.
Right.
So it's definitely not something that, from what I've seen, publishers are not interested in anything that has been written with AI. So I'm interested in staying in that realm, like staying in the realm of creative writing that focuses on the human parts. But for professional work, like for marketing, for social media, for any of your descriptions for events, you should be using AI because it makes things so much easier.
Super.
Maybe some real estate blurbs. That's what Brandon did for a long time.
There you go.
I took all my writing skills and just powered them into real estate blurbs. It was
Not just any.
not just any.
They were very good.
Thank you.
Real estate blurbs.
People did appreciate. Yes.
But these days I can do about 10 in the same amount of time that you can.
Yeah, it's wild. Oh my God. So Patrick, you got a thing tonight, speaking of. So first, I want to congratulate you on being a small business owner. How's that feel?
Thanks. It feels good. A little terrifying, but also good. We live in a great city for small business owners. So feels good. Yeah.
you're doing a good job. Make sure you get those grant applications in on time.
Thanks. Yeah.
This
Thank you.
Particularly for the project that you were talking about. So I think it's a good way to try those little things. So
Appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry, we'll cut a little early because I know you have a thing to get back to. But Todd, did you have any arts information?
okay, so a little update for the Finch Lane Gallery, which is on 54 Finch Lane in Salt Lake City.
Last show he couldn't remember the name of the gallery, so now he's got the name and the address, which is very
Almost a year and a half at this
Yep.
place. I just got the name down pat. Anyway, I had a very successful exhibition. It was called Oaxaca in Utah. Is the name of a group down there, and then it was about their 8 regions. And anyway, very successful, nicely attended, really good partnership, really, really good people, culture, food, you name it. It was really fun. And so this last Friday was the closing reception. That's why I was gone on that Van Sessions, which was very sad. And so the next show,
Todd decides to book like phenomenal van sessions.
it was
and
the
then-
night that I was
and then
kind of
miss
looking
it.
forward to it. Yeah.
Brutal.
And so this coming Friday is the opening, sort of the soft, I guess, opening. But then a week from Friday, what day is that? Is that the 16th, 19th of January? A week from Friday is the opening reception for my next show, which is called 35 by 35. There's an online magazine called Artists of Utah. It's called 15 Bites. Any artist, it's mostly visual art, but any artist in Utah should check out Artists of Utah if you don't already. And so anyway, they every 3 or 4 years they do a group show. It's 35 artists under 35 years old. I would not be welcome in the show, but I can help put up the show. And so that
50 over 50.
yeah, exactly. And so that opens a week from Friday. That runs for 6 weeks. So do follow that. Make sure and come check that out.
Awesome. Snow report. It's gonna snow, apparently.
Illuminating.
Yeah.
This is what people are saying.
This is so. What's interesting is I worked an event at Nordic Valley this weekend, and Nordic Valley was bragging that this last weekend snow, that they got more snow than both Powder and Snow Basin because of the way the pattern is, and it could happen because the Ogden Valley area splits storms for different reasons, and so there's a nonprofit locally here that I'm part of, secretary. Take notes, Ogden Avalanche, and so we just did an update today, and that's actually, I think the YouTube is out now for this week. But pay attention to the snow conditions, especially with the storm coming up, because they are going high to considerable, or considerable to high to extreme, potentially with this storm. And so if you're snowshoeing, trail running, even walking the dog below snow pass, driving, what's the mountain pass and stuff, you should know what's above you, and that is snow that could maybe potentially come down on you. And so Ogden Avalanche is a great resource. We have, starting Thursday, we have 5 different speakers that come. It's every week at B Street. So the B Street Speaker Series at Roosters starts, it's every Thursday from like 6 or 7 till 8, and it's a different subject each week. We're going to record those, so we'll have those. But anyway, if you're in the backcountry, near the backcountry, you're a snowshoer, hiker, whatever, Ogden Avalanche is for you. So anyway, Nordic Valley is sitting at a 39-inch base. I had everybody pulled up here. Powder Mountain Sea is only at 45, so it's not too much lower than Powder Mountain. And then Snow Basin sitting at a 63-inch base. So 0 snow in the last 24 hours, but we are expecting up to 5 feet in the next 5 days, which is insane. In some outdoorsy news, combined with the arts, Todd, we have, Sundance Film Festival is coming up.
I was just going to mention that because I was going to tell you that I officially requested that week off. So I will be.
I thought we were going together. We were reporting from the Sundance Film Festival,
which we did that years ago, and that was so fun. But now the actual planning of what will happen that week is always last minute. It's always last minute. Even where I stay, it's usually last minute. And so, but I did ask off. It's official, so I will be gone.
Look at this. I just got an emergency severe
snow
weather
squall warning.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't
Till
get
6:15.
God, that is wild. Everybody
Wow.
get the same
No
thing?
joke in there.
No, I didn't get anything.
You didn't get anything?
T-Mobile's going to just let me freeze. What do you guys have?
T-Mobile, you're on your own.
AT&T.
You're on your
Oh
own.
my God. Like,
T-Mobile's like, I'm screwed.
brutal.
It's on my watch. It's on my phone.
know.
It's showing up on
man.
your
God,
computer.
that's so funny.
T-Mobile's like, you're on your own.
I'll get a notification tomorrow morning when I'm stuck at home.
No, you're stuck in your
It's like there's a
car on the road.
20% chance that it's already snowing.
Oh, that's funny.
But I wanted to let you know, Todd, because I mean, I've been to Sundance a couple times, and Park City. It's so funny because the actors that go, it used to be back in the day, and I'm going to say back in the day, like 15, 20 years ago, it was the North Face. Everybody had the North Face jacket on because that means not only are you an actor, but you're also a mountaineer. I mean, you just throw it on and you do both immediately. Then they kind of pivoted a little bit towards like Arc'teryx and a little bit of Patagonia up there. But there is a new sponsor for Coat. It's an official outerwear jacket sponsor for the 2024 Sundance Film Festival. Any guesses, Todd?
It's been the same one for years.
What? Really?
Yeah, and it's
Local.
Michael.
Local brands.
No.
No,
Is
well,
it
it is this
Cotopaxi?
year.
Wait, can I
It's
guess?
Cotopaxi. Oh,
Damn it. That's what I was gonna
were you going to
guess.
say Cotopaxi?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Okay, it is Cotopaxi. So Cotopaxi is...
So it means that people, because there's so many volunteers, and that's like one of the only perks that they have. Really, is
they get a free jacket.
free jacket, right? And the jackets are whatever it is they cost it, right? They get a deal on this, but it means that after the festival, or maybe even before next year, jump online, talk to any of these volunteers, and snag yourself one at a very good price.
There we go.
They always show up. Cotopaxi, nice. That's a great partnership.
Cotopaxi. So that says they will have an immersive brick and mortar, or they do have an immersive brick and mortar location on Main Street, directly across from the Egyptian.
Now, did you sell
Theater.
Cotopaxi? You did, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Well, what was your experience with Cotopaxi? Because I like them.
I like them.
No secrets that you can tell that assholes to work with or anything, or
So no, they're actually great. I actually like.
I love their colors. They started that trend, I think.
They take like the leftovers. And,
I know.
Yeah, that's what they.
And now I think it's more probably calculated or more strategic
maybe.
because it's very popular. I mean,
Right.
that's one of the
But
draws.
the idea there was that it was people order all these colors, and then so there's all these colors in this fabric that they wanted that's left over, and they would take all those and they would make a pack. And I thought the packs were cooler than the apparel, actually. So the outerwear sponsor, it's interesting because like I would like a Rab jacket if I'm going to stay warm, But Cotopaxi makes really nice bags and backpacks and stuff. Like I love their bags and backpacks. They had was it a alpaca something? It was really cool. Travel pack, backpack, luggage sort of piece that was awesome. But I like Cotopaxi. Any thoughts?
Yeah, my buddy is on their product design team, and he really loves it. He says it's a good company to work for. I think their slogan is like "Do the most good" or something like that. It seems like social good is like a core pillar of their company, and that I think is what we need more of post 2020.
They have a good story.
Yeah, it's a solid brand, and I think they've done really well in the last few years. They've kind of become I would say like one of the leading apparel or outdoor apparel brands in Utah, which is cool to see.
They cornered the market on fanny pack. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
Killer
they did.
fanny packs. Yeah.
Most-
Fanny packs.
most
You guys, I
people have
finally got my emergency snow squall warning.
It's too late. It has already come through.
I'm already down bad. Yeah, no. So there you have it, folks. T-Mobile, 12 minutes late.
Oh,
Lag time. That's really
Yeah,
funny.
that's
so
brutal.
we are sponsored by T-Mobile, and it's a little awkward.
Oh, that's funny.
Thank you to Banyan One. That's this trailer here for powering today's episode of the Ogden Arts and Adventure Show. Listen and subscribe to Ogden Arts and Adventure on YouTube. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and thebanyancollective.com. If you want to be on the show, you can slip into my DMs. Okay. DM us on Instagram at Ogden Adventure, and I will let you know if you are worthy. Thanks so much, Patrick, for being on the show. Good luck to Happy Magpie, Book,
you.
and Quill. I am super happy that it exists. So that's fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have it in Ogden. So thanks for
Same. I'm glad
Thanks
it's not in
for-
Syracuse.
receiving Happy Magpie so well, Ogden.
Yeah.
It's just around the corner.
Just around the corner.
Yep. We'll leave you with this amazing song from Mel Soul as recorded on Van Sessions Locals Rock at the Monarch.
She's so good.
Yeah. Thanks, Todd, for booking Mel Soul. Or is this the original? I think maybe this wasn't Locals Rock. This is regular band sessions, I think. Anyway, Locals Rock is next Friday anyway. I Am Now by Mel Soul, and we'll see you on the next Ogden Arts and Adventure Show.
The brick or stone, carve the statue on my own. I am not broken glass, someone to guard or protect. I am not defined by label, one look, what means to enable your precious need to make me weak, cast out another witch. And I am not before, I am not after. Tricks you play, each one to guard your sheep to say you can't survive much too long. The world has heard your same damn song. I am not the one to lead those from music, but your melody excludes us all from living fiercely as fire. Human beings, your foundation is set to fall. I am not before, I am not after. Seen my doubts, I've felt my fears. What was broken now doesn't live here. I've seen my doubts, I've felt my fears. What was broken now doesn't live here. 'Cause I am not before, I am not after.
Huh.